I had what I felt was an important dream last night. You know, to me, my experience, there's dreaming, just your average everyday nighttime hallucination stories that you live out in your dreams, and whether your brain is processing this or that from your day's activities or what have you. But then every once in a while you get these dreams that seem to be instructional in a sense, that seem to be kind of giving you guidance for your life, and that's how this dream was last night. I think that it relates to some things that have been going on in the last year at the college where I work, and the relationships there. But basically, what happens in the dream is it's a war dream, and I am in the military, and I'm on home turf. I'm in my own land, my own place, and we always felt like we were an invincible force of good in the world, and we had fought lots of wars for righteous purposes, and been successful, and we'd built up and become what we felt was an invincible army. And then we were invaded, and this is where the dream kind of takes place. I mean, I just knew all of this stuff in my head. It wasn't like it was told in the dream or anything. It was just the feeling that I had that this was our history and who we were, our identification, this kind of a thing. And then in the dream, we're in the midst of being invaded, and we have some of our guys are out there, our best guys are out there fighting, and I'm fully confident that they're going to have no problem defeating these invaders. But word comes around that in fact they're pretty much wiped out, down to just a very small handful of our very best guys. So we're waiting to hear what's going to happen with them, and we're kind of in a little me and a few other guys, maybe a dozen guys at most. We're in this little station on the edge of a town. We're in a little building, and really at the edge of the town, so suburbia kind of is buttressed up against our building, and then we can see out farm fields and roads and stuff for some distance, and out in one direction there's this really big hill that you can see for miles up this hill. And as we're waiting to hear word about what's gone on with the remaining guys that are out there fighting this invading force, we start witnessing that force, those troops, the invaders, coming over that hilltop. And we pull out some binoculars and we look up that way, and we see that they have those remaining guys from our group. They have them, they're tied up, they're walking ahead of this invading army, and as they're walking, they're being tortured. They're being, guys will come up behind them and kick them in the back, hit them with the butts of their rifles and this kind of a thing, and keep knocking them down, standing them back up and making them walk. And they get to a certain point coming over the hill where they are really more clearly in view, and they know it, and that's at that point they kneel these guys down and slit their throats. And then they're coming down the hill toward our little headquarters, and we start to run around to try to figure out a plan. What are we going to do? Because there's only about 12 of us, and there's hundreds of this in this invading force. They're coming over this hill, and I'm looking for a gun because I don't even have a gun on me at the moment. I end up finding this little tiny pistol that takes these 45 caliber bullets. And I realized, if I shoot this little tiny pistol with this 45 caliber bullets, it's gonna, it's gonna hurt my hand even to fire this thing, because the bullets are so much bigger than the little pistol itself. So I wish I was having an M16. I'm looking around, and meanwhile the opposing force, the invaders, are getting closer and closer to our little building, and some of the guys start engaging with them from the front of the building, start shooting, and the opposing force just wipes them out, just sprays the whole front of the building with bullets, and has no problem wiping them out. One of the guys that is shot and dying gives me his M16, and I take off with that. I go out the back of the building, and I realize, I'm just a sitting duck here. I got to get out of here. So I start moving. There's a couple of other guys with me that start moving through suburbia, thinking that we'll be able to get away from these guys. We just got to go into hiding. But as we move, it becomes apparent that these guys are going to stay on our trail. It's really hard. We start finding it really hard to move through suburbia without being witnessed. And one guy is going to hide us in his home. So we go into his house, and we're not even there long before some of the soldiers from the invading army are there at the house, and they just outright kill this guy because they know that he helped us. Somehow they know. And then it dawns on me that this is a new era. This isn't like World War II or anything else, where an era where you might be able to easily go into hiding somewhere in a little town and not be found. This is an era where there's surveillance devices all over the place. There's cameras on the street recording traffic and this and that, and somebody, maybe not in the moment, but very quickly after you passing one of these cameras, could access it, and they could be tracking you by this surveillance equipment. And I realized we're in trouble, and the other guys realize it too. And so we decide we're going to split up and go different ways, and we do that. And I'm making my way solo through other parts of suburbia and trying to figure out what am I going to do, because I know as I'm moving, I'm also being recorded, and that I only have so much time between the time of recording and when they're going to access those recordings in their efforts to track me down. And somehow I end up getting word, some media, and I don't remember exactly how this happened, but I remember getting word that that these guys had, because I was on the run, they had went and they grabbed up my family and they killed my family, and they made it known publicly that anybody that tries to help me is going to be killed. And I also received word around that same time, whether it be by radio or TV or internet or something. I don't know, I can't remember even how I got the word of it. I was on the move. But I received word that the rest of the guys that had been with me when we split up had been found and killed. So I was like the sole survivor of our local militia, running for my life, trying to figure out where am I going to go, because of the surveillance stuff. Where am I going to go? And I realized in this moment that my life had fundamentally changed, because this wasn't the kind of thing that was going to go away. These guys had me on their radar, and they're only going to stop when I'm killed. And so this is going to be my life from here out, and it might not be very long of a life, but my life is going to consist of trying to keep myself concealed from these guys, while at the same time somehow trying to get some food, trying to get some shelter. And I gotta, be conscious of the fact that anybody that helps me is gonna probably get found out and killed, and I have to at least make sure that they know that, make sure that I tell them if they don't already know, and then it can be their decision or whatever. But yeah, chances are this life is not going to be too long, but it could be. I'm pretty good at evasion, and it could be I'm able to stay on the run, but it's never going to change from that. I'm always going to be on the run from here out until they find me. And when they do find me, I have to have some means to kill myself, or I'm going to be massively tortured. So this is the stuff that's going through my head. And I guess there's a bay there by this town where I'm hiding out, and I start thinking, maybe my next move will be I'll go down to one of the docks and maybe steal somebody's fishing boat, take that out for a little bit, hopefully catch some fish while I'm at it. But then I'm gonna have to ditch that boat because they've got cameras on the docks, and it won't take them too long before they figure out where I'm at. Then I'll be a sitting duck on the water. So this is going to be my next plan, is to get out there and steal a boat. And I happen to be, at the moment I'm thinking about this, I happen to be passing through a park, and I noticed there's like a small flock of magpies there, maybe 8 or 9 magpies, and that a few of them are leucistic magpies, meaning that they're almost like albinos. They have they're, instead of the typical black and white, they're gray colored. It's kind of a rare magpie to have that leucistic trait. I've encountered a few of them in my life, but not very many. And so I'm sitting with this flock and just momentarily feeling this a kind of a stress relief, because I know that right here in the park, for just this moment, I'm okay for a moment. I can take a moment and enjoy something that's beautiful, and enjoy being here with these birds, and I love being with the birds. And so I'm sitting there with the flock. I can't stay there long, but for the moment that I'm there, I'm fully engaged in just what I'm doing. It's kind of a Zen moment. And at that point, one of the birds that's not leucistic asked me, "What are you doing?" And that it was in my pet magpie Derek, in his voice, when he asks, "What are you doing?" That's how it said, exactly like that. And I realized that he was one of the magpies in this flock. And then and that's what kind of triggered me to realize that this was a dream. And I was waking up. But as I was waking up also, I realized that this dream seemed to have some importance in telling me the kind of quality of mind, the quality of presence to adopt in the context of this very stressful situation. And in this case, there was no long-term anything to look forward to for me. I needed to just be present. I needed to just be present in my moment, recognize that there's going to be encounters, and that I'm going to have, skirmishes with these guys that are after me, and I need to be present for those skirmishes. I just need to be alive and not be worried about dreams and stuff for the future anymore. Just be living in the moment. And so that's what I got out of the dream. It was a very kind of I felt again like it was a very kind of a Zen message that I got through the dream, and that it somehow related to stresses that I'm experiencing in my life today, in my waking life, and that I need to take these kind of things to heart in my relationship with people who are determined to be my enemy.